economy, so it's explaining what those asset bubbles are. Developed when the economy is thriving and investors in a particular asset purchase large quantities of that asset on the belief that it will sell for a higher price. But oil. Yeah, just read your Bible. Yes, I'm that foolish to think so. I'm not much of a dummy to think so. You're so wise to not go by the Bible and look how well we're doing. Oh, we're doing so well. $10, yay! How many of you are happy we can go green with our meals and skip meals? Skip meals.
Then those who have fallen asleep or died in Christ have perished.
Wonderful? Man, what a great life, man. How wise the wisdom of those so-called wise and the scholars and the...
If I can't find it, when I was talking about before that, saying I think Skip's pretty wise, wise, hip to the game. And then before that, I was talking about the five. There's 5 wise virgins, 5 foolish ones. Which ones were the ones dawning during creation to Lucifer? And then, as Jonathan Klecks stepped out of his truck, and then 5 people were blowing shofars. As soon as his feet hit the ground, 5 people were blowing shofars. And he was also showing you 5 characters, or 5 priests, or whatever they're called, that are dawning their own creation. They're all singing in Latin, Lucifer. And then Jonathan Klecks heads up to New Mexico, Albuquerque, and that's exactly where Skip happens to be at. I can't find where I said that before whether he's playing Lot or he wants you to perceive that he is Lot. Maybe that is his role in a certain way of interpreting the daughters as technology created into mixing AI into a human man to turn him into his daughter. And then, like when Lot said, yeah, come on in. Do unto my 2 daughters, but not to the angels. And do unto my 2 virgin daughters, because what you're going to find out, buddy, is you're not going to have something, that worm that's been attached to you for life. You're not going to have that worm if you go and do that and try to rape my daughters, because you don't know what's inside of there. And go ahead, come on in.
Economists and Wall Street, the bankers, the globalists of today, aren't they so smart?
Anytime he talks about skipping things, I believe he's talking about Skip directly. Then he'll throw his shots in at Skip and whoever else that he's referring to. However, are they sarcastic shots? Because when a preacher's teaching and he sounds like he's mocking the Bible, and he's really not, he's really kind of condescending his audience, who's blind to the fact of how his heart changed into a different direction. Then on the 8th, I'm saying, is this, because so far, like was saying, the Lord didn't tell me when to jump yet. So as of the 8th, he didn't know where he jumped. So I'm just saying, why don't you jump on my birthday at 5:55 a.m. Road to Mexico, a hot air balloon trip. My son had a Wawa thing, quesadilla or something. in the refrigerator. This morning I seen it. It said item number 555.
To jump. I mean, it's always good to jump on a birthday, but your birthday already passed. So if you have a second favorite birthday, maybe jump on that one. When the sun comes.
What would be a second favorite birthday? Jacob Israel turns 51 today, which is the 11th. And then Klecks decided he's going to jump tomorrow, Sunday. Somewhere in the morning, like 5:15, you're going to meet up, or 4:15. So second favorite birthday, at the end of the day, I look at it like this. Let's say you were born on June 11th, but you were born at 11 o'clock at night. June 12th is still your birthday. Because for that first 24 hours, it's like that's the day of your birth. A birthday is 24-hour period, not your birth second or birth minute, but the birth day. The day that you're going to celebrate all the way through should be a 24-hour day. So Klecks going to jump on Jacob Israel's birthday, which is where he'll be 51 years old.
The Lord told me to open to Jeremiah, and I read Jeremiah 51, verse 1, and it said, I will bring a destroying wind in the midst of Babylon. And the Lord showed me that destroying wind was a spirit.
You're going to read Jeremiah 51 as of yesterday, and then today is Jacob Israel's 51st birthday. You stepped out of your vehicle, and 5 people were donning their own blowing shofars. And then the same day, Jacob Israel winded up blowing a shofar.
I hope, yeah, I do. I hope that my journey here has come to an end. But I'll persevere no matter what, whatever the cost, whatever he tells me to do.
So Jacob Israel says, teach me the truth, no matter what the cost.
But I'll persevere no matter what, whatever the cost. I was pulling through some small town. I have no idea what the name of it is even.
June 5th.
And as I pulled through, here's what happened. Watch. They're blowing shofars.
June 5th, same exact day that Klecks showed.
It's been a long 20 years for me, believing, knowing that the Lord had appointed me to be a watchman. I'm getting ready to fly over the John Donne Bridge. Over the John Donne Bridge in a balloon and blow a shofar. Do I know that that means anything except that I know for sure the Lord told me to do it? No.
Video when I'm talking about Klecks.
Back on October 4th, 2019, almost 3 years ago.
Falling from the sky with the parachute malfunction.
In a shofar. And then I don't know if I'm going to jump out of that balloon. I don't know what I'm doing. The Lord He leads me. And I just said, if all that happens and I land in,
Their parachute failed to open during a skydive. The Waller County Sheriff's Office says the man and woman landed in a field on Kitty Hawk Drive.
Man and woman landed on Kitty Cat Drive.
Life Flight helicopters picked up the patients and transported them to the hospital. The sheriff's office says the male instructor and a woman were
Male instructor and woman
hooked together for a tandem jump, but their parachute apparently never opened. Deputies and state troopers are now investigating what went wrong.
And I just said, if all that happens and I land and, it's like, wow,
In other words, if I bounce,
did you see all the miracles? Okay, that's super cool. But
so I have Trump's Air Force Klecks U.S. 3 days in the belly of the fish, Kleck. After 3 days, so maybe he's going to fall into the water, the river, the ocean. This is all back in October 2019. Jonathan Kleck dies on his, Jonathan Vargo Kleck will be skydiving on his birthday. Well, he was. Grand finale, Kleck's parachute malfunction, death rumors, YouTube live. I think he's going to do it live. He said Sunday. You stay in touch, right?
I'll give you all of the clips where
2007.
Jonathan Kleck is letting you know that he's going to die from a parachute accident, and he's going to do it live.
Watch the whole 303. So 303 refers to Derek Bros. Today's June 11th, 2022, 4:58 p.m. Happy birthday to the stage name Jacob Israel, 51 years old today. Back on June 25th, 2022, Jonathan Kleck's going to skydive in the desert. I mean, technically over in New Mexico, it's like, and it looks like the same desert that you were at when back in July of 2020 that was coming up. So this was actually before you did that skydive, but you still lived. You're still here. But at some point, and that's the day he comes to his final resting place once he is crucified upside down, falling from the sky, looking to meet God face to face. When he does a face plant, because that's meeting God face to face, in the shoulder in the middle of the street, to use as one of the witnesses dead in the streets.
this whole Puddles Pity Party, go look at the lyrics to I'm Sailing Away.
Remember, Jonathan Kleck's channel got shut down 1,260 days from the time Derek Bros is on record, the time he started his YouTube channel on December 31st, 2017. So June 14th last year, Jonathan Kleck's main channel got shut down. It's kind of like either he started going into the wilderness to get fed or walking with God for 365 days like Enoch, and then he was no more. And so there's only 3 more days left until that. But tomorrow he plans on jumping. Didn't you say that on Sunday? Tomorrow?
Give him one of the shofars you took on the trip. I brought 2 shofars and the Lord told me, go give him one now. And he was getting ready to leave. And so I had to be obedient. I did exactly what I went and got one of the shofars. I went and said, would you mind if I gave you one of these? If I gave you this? And he's like, you're going to give me a shofar? And I was like, yeah. And I go, would you mind if I read your prayer on Sunday? I'm going to be in a balloon going over the John Dunn Bridge at Black Rock at John Dunn Bridge at Black Rock at sunrise. Would you mind if I blew my shofar. I have one also, and I'll.
So he met Abraham, gave him a shofar, so he's blowing. So Abraham would be considered one of the ones that are like a witness, basically, blowing a shofar. And then who was always with Abraham, which Abraham is Lot, or his nephew Lot.
Read your prayer. And he was like, you want to do it right now? And so I said, okay. I'm
May
going to let you
26th,
watch
beforehand.
5 different guys during different times sing to Lucifer, dawning his own creation, starting the earth, singing inside of a snake. 5 different times. If that doesn't change your world, something's really wrong. I just want to thank all the people that stepped up just to make it easier to go on the street. And God bless you. And
After the fact.
hugs from Johnny. I love you guys. It's going to be cool.
Before,
I mean, it's like, can you imagine it's you and you're praying, you're going, Lord, I just need some encouragement. I mean, I feel a little like, I've got all this stuff in my truck. I've got my parachute. I've got my bike. I've got all this stuff. My bike needs to go to a shop in Albuquerque. Like, dude.
Where Skip Heitzing is.
I was like, I've got the shofars. I mean, and then you pull up and there's 5 people blowing shofars in every direction. It's like, okay. So I was like, thank you. I'm going to let you watch 5 different guys during different times sing to Lucifer, dawning his own creation, starting the earth, side of a snake. 5 different times. Let's watch. You know what?
They're also blowing shofars. 5 guys blowing shofars to get sound out of it. Guess you got to be skilled at doing that. Or, in the other sense, to get fruit out of it.
Went, oh my God, there is both serpents, one, the king and the queen. See it, male and female. Here's one, and here's the other one.
All right, well, if you take this look, because this serpent here has a crown. You clearly see it's a serpent coming up out of the sea. And going down, here's the other end. The waterfall connects it. And the serpent on this side. Over here, you got this scorpion stinger look. And knowing that the tail of the serpent, so you can have a serpent coming out of a serpent with a stinger. And then that would be this road heading down here from the back of the serpent. Because that tail is representing that.
Can you imagine the circumstances that I'm talking about? Where I pull up, as soon as I set my foot on the ground, the sound goes off. Do you understand that those people were only in that parking lot for
To daunt their own Lucifer's creation, 5 were there to daunt Lucifer's creation. And as soon as Jonathan Klecks shows up and his foot hits the ground, those 5 people are blowing their shofars to get the fruit of the labor. Because it's laborious to blow a shofar as you're sounding the trumpet, 5 of them daunting Lucifer's creation.
For about 2 to 3 minutes, they had walked out of a door of a building where they were having their service. And at the time I drove up, they just started blowing in different directions. So they had already blown in one direction, and so started blowing. And at the time I drove up, they just started blowing in different directions. So they had already blown in one direction. And so when I set my foot on the ground, they were all blowing in another direction. And I was like, what? And then I grabbed my camera as quickly as I could. I grabbed my phone and I got out and I turned it on. I started walking towards them while they're blowing the shofars. And then I turned my phone on again to do another short video. And that's where I'm kind of narrating and I'm saying, guys, they're blowing shofars.
They were having service.
You know what? Before they start singing, let's take a good look at this. Let's take a good look at where they're singing. They're singing inside this building, the Vatican. Let's do another just drive-by, huh? Let's just get this in your brain so you really fully understand where they're singing and what they're doing. Okay, so this is the building they're singing in right here. It's a serpent wearing a freaking crown. That means the serpent's the king. So this is the king serpent, and they're right under this crown singing. And right here, the mouth of the serpent that they're singing towards happens to be a penis and a vagina, and a dead sheep and a bunch of angels melting into semen. Probably no big deal. Okay, did you hear what I said? This upside down cross is where, get it, upside down cross,
Upside
fallen, you know,
down.
upside down cross that turns into a serpent. You're
Serpent,
gonna watch
penis,
guys
same
inside
thing.
that building right now singing to Lucifer, dawning his own creation, starting the earth. In front of angels melting into semen, forming a sheep, forming male and female reproductive systems, which is exactly what it says in Genesis 1. The spirit of Elohim moved over the face as the part that turns of the semen. And
Abdominal organs. What does that look like? I know it's not what it is, but it sure looks like it.
Any of this pain, we wouldn't see any of this suffering. We'd see a lot of brotherly love. We'd see kindness and joy because we'd know that we're going to be judged for it. So anyway, okay, let's get back to the story. Otherwise, we won't succeed. We need to restore Nineveh. We need to get Nineveh restored.
June 8th, 2022.
For how long?
You've been here for like
3 days, right?
That's right. How'd you know? But you must know my scripture.
I do very well. I don't believe it, but
Yeah.
June 5th, 2022. Talking about Jonah being in the belly of the great big fish.
We won't succeed. We need
3
to
days later.
restore Nineveh. We need to get Nineveh restored. Shall I not spare Nineveh? All the signs.
Yeah, I mean, you twisted really well, too.
thanks, yeah.
Anyway,
Pretty good at Twitch.
I'm sorry, John.
Now you're finally freaking here.
No.
So that's why I said the very next day.
Hey, Jacob, what are you trolling me? Huh, Jacob Israel, you trolling me?
I do a video about Jonah getting swallowed up by a fish. What do you know? Next thing you know, the next video Jacob Israel does. Oh, it's Jonah getting swallowed up by a great big
This was
fish.
the news I get. I was going to do this live stream. So much to be concerned about. But today, this is the news I get. Shall I not spare Nineveh?